Hey guys, it's Kim. So we are still reading the Premonition series, books number 1 through 5. This video is for book number 3, which is Indebted. Whoop. Don't mind me. That one, that's the one we don't know. That one right there. Okay. Yeah, banjacks. That's something they say in the book. So anyway, Indebted is number 3 in the Premonition series. I like the book. There's no smut for the people who are like holding out, waiting like maybe eventually. No, there's no smut. There's plenty of love between Reed and Evie, and we all know what they're doing, but there's no details. And let's just be honest, the smut is in the details. No details, no smut. Without details, it's just Twilight. It's terrible. I'm just kidding, because I love Twilight. I'm just kidding, y'all. Don't be at me. So, if we remember from the last one, right, the gang was all at the Power Angel compound, right, because Evie had come to save Reed and Z, and Brennis and the Vamps attacked the Power Angels compound, and so they fled. Russell and Brownie are separate from the group. So when we start this book, Russell and Brownie are on the lam. It means on the run. They're on the run from Brennis et al. Because at this point, you know, when the book started, it was just angels, right? You had the divine, which are the on God's side angels, and then you had the fallen, which are the Hayward with Lucifer angels. So now there's more supernatural creatures because we got vampires. There's more things coming in this book. So I felt like it was a good book. It is I would say a 3.5, 3.75. Like, it's not a top tier book for me. Like, I wouldn't give it an A, but probably a B. I would give it a B. I'm still enjoying the series, but it is, it's not like, it doesn't move, right? It's not one of those that you're like, oh man, I can't put this down, you know. I'm definitely going to finish the series. So it's good enough that I want to finish it. It's not so good that I can't put it down. So that's somewhere in there. This is your spoilers warning. That this is, you know, for people who maybe are reading this for a book group or it's for school or whatever, and you need a detailed refresher because you don't remember, because you read a lot of books and you can't remember everything that you read. Because I can't remember everything I read because I read too much. Because I read constantly. As soon as I finish one, like if okay, I finished number 3 this morning. I probably won't, okay, I'm going to start number 4 later. But I'm saying normally if it was a different series, I would not start it until tomorrow because I need time to process and be with my emotions about my book. I know about the book hangover. I have had the book hangover, but honestly, I feel like the best thing to do is to jump into something else. I may take a couple of days to mourn my book and wallow in my book hangover before I start another series, but usually I read back to back. Okay, so spoilers. Here's your detailed breakdown of what happens in the book. So when we start the book, Russell and Brownie are on the lam. They're on the run from Brennis and company. Evie, Reed, Buns, and Z have fled to China because if you remember, so Brennis had them, I think, somewhere in Canada. So, because they went from Michigan close to Canada. Anyway. So to get away from Brennis, they've literally gone, you know, halfway around the world to China to get away from Brennis. And they're in China and they're trying to figure out a strategy and what to do. And, Evie's just, y'all, Evie. So Evie decides that she is going to talk to her high school friend Molly because she hasn't talked to her since high school. And she wants to talk to her about Reed because she's never been in a relationship. She kind of doesn't know, you know, she doesn't know what she's doing and blah, blah. So she emails Molly, and what she gets back is a video of Brennis stalking Molly at the club, like basically threatening, like, if you don't come back, I'm going to, you know, take your friend, do stuff to your friend. Which her first instinct, of course, is to save Molly, but everybody's like, come on now, Evie, like, you're not going to, like, they're vamps. Like, you're not going to save Molly. Like, Molly's going to be dead by the time you get there. So the Power Angels, because they know basically Brennis is coming, right? So the Power Angels show up to protect Evie. Like, they join forces because they no longer think that she's fallen. They think that she's divine, and they want to protect her. So the Power Angels show up to protect Evie. So meanwhile, Russell and Brownie are on their way to meet them in China so that they can all join forces, right? Go Team Angels. Team Good Angels? Team Hybrids? I don't know. Go team. Okay. So they get taken by an Ifrit. Ifrit. I-F-R-I-T. So what I remember, I'm not an expert on supernatural creatures. I mean, other than the ones in the books. Or celestial beings. However, I remember from Final Fantasy playing that video game. I don't know if you ever played Final Fantasy. But an Ifrit is like a fire demon, right? It is like fire made flesh. It's a Game of Thrones reference, y'all. So anyway, in order to defeat, because of course, Evie's like, I have to go save Russell. Like, I have to. And Z and Reed are like, okay, hold up, girl. Let's come up with a strategy. Let's think about things, okay? And Reed is like, in order to defeat fire, you have to use water. So he calls the Undines, which are water nymphs. So I guess they're fae, to help plan, because the Ifrit, they think, is going to come after Evie. And so they want to already have defenses in place, which is why they call the Undines, right? And one of them, like, has a thing for Reed and can't stand Evie, like, hates Evie. And so, lo and behold, what happens? Brennis shows up. Brennis shows up with the vamps. He has teamed up with Saphira, which is the leader of the Undines. And he is bound and determined he's going to get Evie. So, he has Molly with him. Molly plays all, oh my God, Evie, help. And Evie, of course, goes to help because Evie's a bleeding heart. And Brennis takes her. So to get away from Brennis, she uses her, like, Evie and Russell are constantly developing, right? Or coming into their powers, or they learn new powers. So one of those is they send clones out of themselves, right? So it reminds me, I don't know if you played Assassin's Creed. But there was this thing where you could morph the crowd, right? When you're playing online multiplayer, you could morph the crowd into clones of yourself. And there was also this one where you could have a clone, like, run away to try and get your attacker to chase them so that you knew who was coming after you, right? So anyways, they have this thing where they can send clones out. And so Evie decides to evade the Gunkanak. I don't know how you say it. So the vamps are also fairies. They were fairies before they were vampires. I don't know how you say it. Anyway, so she runs and jumps off of a cliff to get away from Brennis and group after she sends her clones out, and actually flies for the first time. And it's kind of bad, but she didn't die. So, you know, I feel like if you made it to the ground in one piece, you did a good job, Evie. So she actually flies for the first time. She makes it to the ground. She meets up with Phaedrus, who is the miracle working angel. And he actually takes her to the Ifrit to save Russell and Brownie. And the Ifrit is just a jerk because he's on fire all the time. And who wants to live like that? I mean, of course he's Krabby Patty. You know, like, dude is literally walking around on fire all the time. Anyway, so he decides he's going to kill Russell and Brownie, like, regardless, and still take Evie. So Brennis shows up, and of course, He's only going to save Russell and Brownie if Evie comes with him. And he tells her, I want Persephone. I want, you know, the girl from the painting from way back the first book, I think, or second book. I'm not sure. Anyway, so he wants Persephone. And she says, well, Persephone only spent 6 months with Hades. And the other 6 months she was in the regular world. So, or the human world, whatever you want to call it. So he's like, okay, deal. So she leaves and goes with Brennus. And he's nicer to her, much nicer to her. And you feel like she's starting to maybe fall for him, or at least care about him, and love the Gunkanaka. I don't know how you say it. The other vamps. She's starting to care about them. And so this fallen angel, who's also a seraphim like she is, shows up. His name's Casimir. He wants Evie too. I think he had actually tasked Brennus with finding Evie, but then Brennus wanted to keep Evie, and Casimir's like, no, dude, you were supposed to give her to me. And so he thinks he's going to take her from Brennus, but he leaves and gets his army of fallen to show up. Well, meanwhile, Reed and Z are kind of off on the sidelines fighting the fallen that keeps showing up where the vamps live in Ireland. They keep trying to attack the compound, and Reed and Z and the other divine angels are fighting them off to keep Evie safe. Well, finally, Casimir, like, gets through, like, as Brennus and Evie are trying to escape. Casimir shows up and shoots Brennus in the leg, and since he and Evie are bound, that's part of their contract. Sorry, I should have said that. So part of their contract, his life is bound to her. So not only does she have to spend 6 months with him, but during that 6 months that she's with him, if somebody does anything to him, they do it to her, and vice versa. If somebody does something to her. So anyway, Casimir shows up, shoots Brennus in the leg, and therefore Evie's shot in the leg, and she starts to go down. He grabs her and shoots her in the other leg just to be like a jerk, because she tried to shoot him when she was trying to catch him and it didn't work. Anyway, Evie uses yet another new power that she's come up with, which is doing magic, which Brennus and the vamps have been helping her with. And she calls the sea in to the castle and basically wipes everybody out into the water, right? And this way, she thinks she's going to get away from Casimir. Except that when she gets on the ground, there's Casimir. And it's not just Casimir, but freaking zombies. Yeah, they're zombies. So Casimir's got zombies, he's got ogres, and he's got the fallen, all fighting with him against the vamps and the divine to try and get Evie. He gets Evie in a car. He's trying to get away with her so he can take her to Sheol, hell. He's trying to take her to hell, okay? And I don't know why, but supposedly if she gets to hell, it's really bad. It's really bad if she makes it to hell. So when all that's going on in the middle of this big, huge battle, Reed finds her and fights Casimir and kills Casimir and gets her back and takes her to Z's island. So they finally make it to Zephyr's island and actually kind of have a little bit of a honeymoon. There's still no smut, but there's plenty of love time. There's plenty of love time. And so that's kind of where it ends off at. They're on the island, and Evie is teaching Russell how to use magic, because he doesn't know that, because that's not a power that he evolved. She only learned that because of being with the vamps. And he is teaching her how to make his clones more lifelike, able to do more things, because the only thing Evie could do is like send them out with her feelings and her emotions, versus Russell's can actually ask questions and interact. So they're AI clones. Yeah. So anyway, that's where the book ends. And so we'll talk about number 4 next. All right, thanks guys. Bye.